I want to welcome everyone. Special welcome to you all. I want to thank you again for joining us. Yet one of our Saturday evening program from Love Above Everything, Prayerful Christian Singles Ministry. If you're joining for the first time, I want you to know we have this a similar event every week. We will have discussion time followed by prayer and also a social later on. All right, Love Above Everything, Prayerful Christian Singles Ministry is a ministry with daily activities and events for singles. And we promote purity, we promote godly relationships, we promote wholesome entertainment for singles. We promote emotional health, emotional support. We have emotional support groups, many activities that we do for singles. I want to say a special welcome to Brother Andrew, who is joining us. Okay, so what I'm going to do, rather than give a formal introduction of our special guest, I'm going to ask our special guest to tell us a little about themselves. So I'm going to start off with Sister Cafian. I know she's from Trinidad, single, never married. What else can you tell about yourself, Sister Cafian?
Pleasant good night, everyone. I hope that you all are hearing me loud and clear.
Yes, we're here. We're seeing and hearing you.
Okay. Yes, I'm from the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago. I am an educator for 14 years. I am the head leader or the leader of Single People Loving and Serving Him in Aruka Seventh-day Adventist Church in Trinidad. And I do a lot of hosting and guest speaking in different parts of our country as well as otherwise in different places. I enjoy hiking, gardening, and I think I'll leave it at that for now. So thank you for having me.
Okay. Can you tell me a little about your singles ministry?
Okay. Single People Loving and Serving Him, which is SPLASH, it's an acronym, right? We operate.
That's the card. I apologize. So the volume is up. Caffeine, do you mind increasing your volume?
Are you hearing me now? Are you hearing me better?
Oh, a little bit better. A little bit.
Okay.
All right. I hope. Let me make sure that everything is all right on my end. All right. So Single People Loving and Serving Him, that is the acronym for SPLASH. All right. We have existed for possibly more than 10 plus years. It has been out for a very long time. Our catchment mainly was in terms of Trinidad and Tobago because of the fact that a lot of our events are face-to-face. So we carry out our events throughout the year on a monthly basis, inviting different people from not just only Aruka, but all throughout the island. And then we culminate with a massive convention, which usually brings people out in numbers. I think the most we have seen in terms of a convention is about 700 or 800 people. And it's a wonderful opportunity to fellowship and discuss. We've had a journey so far. So we've had convention for about 6 years, right? And this year we are primarily focusing on our single parents, persons who have experienced divorce, and our senior citizens who are single. That's our focus this year because, as I said, we move in different wavelengths. And we have an online series called Vulnerability Vault, which we will be calling Read Between the Lines because we are dealing with delayed marriage as well as gender communications this year. So that's basically it in a nutshell. We do online things as well, but that would have happened a lot more coming out of COVID, at the beginning of COVID, but it's primarily face-to-face because people need that social interaction and that engagement and so forth. So yes, that is us here in Aruka, all the way in Trinidad, because I know some of us are from all over the globe.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your wonderful work that you are doing for singles in Trinidad. We appreciate you and we appreciate your work for singles. Okay, that was Sister Kathy and Alan. Sister Kathy and Alan, single never married from Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, our next special guest is Sister Jackie. I see Jackie Yvonne. I call her Sister Jackie. I don't know which one of the names I should use.
Jackie's fine.
Jackie's fine. She is a very outspoken lady. She is originally from Jamaica, but lives in Maryland, USA, as you can see on her profile. She also is single, never married. All right. What can you tell us about yourself, Sister Jackie?
Okay, good evening, everybody. I hope you had a great Sabbath. And I hope you can hear me because I couldn't hear the lady that spoke before me. Couldn't hear anything that she was saying. So how's the volume? Is it good?
Yes, excellent.
All right. Jackie is my pet name, or short for Jacqueline. Yvonne is my middle name, and my last name is Higgins. I live in Maryland, Bel Air, Maryland. I've lived here now for about 11 years. I moved here in 2011 from Atlanta, Georgia. Before that, I lived in the USA. Before that, I lived in New Jersey. And before that, I lived in Jamaica. So I am a Seventh-day Adventist, been an Adventist all my life, as far as I can remember. I got baptized when I was 12 years old. I'm very active in the church. I was active as a young girl. I was a Pathfinder. I was a Sabbath school teacher. These days, I attend the Baltimore White Marsh Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I serve as one of the health ministry leaders. I also serve as one of the communications leaders. I am very, very passionate about health. I do believe in the principles of natural health, New Start. I try to practice those as much as possible. I'm sure you're all aware of them. I'm a trained medical missionary. I was trained in 2020. And I guess you could say these days I'm trying to get my certification in place. Last year I lost my father, so I wasn't able to finish my certification, but I'm working on it right now. What I hope eventually to do with that certification is open up a sanitarium. That is my long-term goal. But most importantly, I did the training to help myself stay well and also to help family members as well as friends. So there's a lot of people struggling with, chronic health conditions, and they suffer a lot because of lack of knowledge. So I'm hoping that some of the knowledge that I've gained I'll be able to share with them. I'm also a trained Bible instructor. I recently trained Bible instructor. I did the training because I want to help the younger members of my family understand the Bible and understand why it's important to, have a relationship with Christ. So I could have easily sent them somewhere else, but I decided that I wanted to take on that responsibility. So I'm a trained Bible instructor. And in terms of my passion, like I said, I'm very passionate about health. In my spare time, I'm watching a lot of webinars on health or cooking demonstration. What I like to do besides that is exercise. I like to spend time with family. I'm a very family-oriented person, and I do believe in spending quality time with family.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Sister Jackie. We're happy to meet you. Okay, so I want to I see the gentlemen are here now, so I'm going to ask Brother Kit. Brother Kit, could you introduce yourself? I know Brother Kit is from Jamaica and he's single, never married. Brother Kit, can you spotlight him, Brother John Kim? I see both men are here now.
right there. Good evening, everyone. Can see me, right?
Background is dark. You need some light, brother. Give you light. We can see you though. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
So, I'm Chris Edwards. I was born and raised in Jamaica.
I think there's a bad feedback from you also. I'm gonna take Brother Auckland and then you can just sign in and sign back. Sign out and sign back in, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, talk, let me hear you. Go ahead, let me hear you. Say, how are you? Say, hello?
Hello, hearing me now?
Yeah, go ahead now.
All right. Right, so I was saying, my name is Kit Edwards. I was born and raised in Jamaica. I visit other places sometimes, but this is my home until I say when. I'm trying to think of things that you probably wouldn't have heard about me before. I like singing and songwriting and that kind of stuff, writing poems and doing that kind of stuff. I also like working out in the gym. It's one of the things I used to do that I'm trying to pick up back right now. I also like being on the range at different times. You know, it's one of the ways I relieve some stress sometimes. That's pretty much it. I went into I became a Seventh-day Adventist when I was about 16 years old. I have been active for years until I went to university. I haven't been so active as I used to be, but in my little corner, I try to spread the word nonetheless. I hope to get back into doing a little more work, but in terms of in the church, but not as much as I used to do back in the days, because I figure it might prevent me doing other stuff, you know, in the field that I think might be more beneficial, you know. So yeah, that's pretty much me. If there's anything else, I'd be happy to fill you in.
Okay, no problem. Do me a favor, Brother Kit. If you can get some light, some more light, because your background is dark, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Give me a-
Yeah, no problem. All right. At this time, we want to introduce Brother Auckland, Elder Auckland Fleming. He is also single, never married. Elder Auckland, can we see him, Brother Jonakim?
Is there already, Pastor?
I not seen him highlighted. Can we see him? Okay. Can you see him, everybody? That's the man who talks a lot in the chat. And this is what he looks like. Tell us a little about yourself, my elder.
Not much. I've been active in church since I was 16. I've been Sabbath school secretary and superintendent. I've taught early teen and youth classes. I've done adult Sabbath school yet as yet. I've been just recently elected as an elder. Supposed to have elections coming up soon, but the pastor asked us to hold on for a bit. So that's about it. If somebody else has a question.
and you are from St. Croix, which is one of the
Yes.
U.S. Virgin Islands.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Single, ever married?
Never married. No.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I want to thank you all for joining and for agreeing to be our special guest. I want to start off by asking any member of the panel to define dating. What is dating? Anybody?
Mm.
Anybody
All
wants to
right.
do dating?
All right. All right, since this is a unanimous Alan start, I'll start. I will say dating is being subjected to someone else's perspective, I would say, in general. All right, and that's how I would describe it.
Okay, let's start. Anybody else? What is dating?
I,
Go ahead, Sister Jackie.
okay. For me, dating is when I have an emotional connection with a man and I really want to spend a lot of time with him, and we probably are very intentional about, going out to meals, spending quality time together, whether it's in person or on the phone. And usually for me, it's kind of, I guess you could say exclusive. I only date one person at a time. I'm not into dating multiple people at a time. So usually has a emotional connection and intentional about spending quality time with that person.
Okay, so we could say dating is an intentional act of getting to know someone. Would that be okay?
We're saying the same thing in different ways, yes.
Okay, somebody says to me that dating is actually seeking to collect data on someone. So the word dating comes from the word data. So I take it that we all have a feel of what dating is. All right. Now, what is online dating? So I know Sister Kathy and you have spoken on this subject before. You are someone who's knowledgeable about the whole area of online dating. What is online dating? Anybody?
Well, firstly, and before I even define online dating, I listened to the both definitions just now. And dating is a preliminary action in the advancement to a romantic relationship. So it is customary in terms of generalization before specialization. As Christians, we do dating a little bit different than the outside world. We're a little bit more intentional about it because you should not be practicing dating unless you're actually interested in formulating a long-term relationship that will end in marriage. That's the purpose, supposed to be the end goal, right? Now that I've established how I view dating, online dating is basically operating in the social dimensions of getting to know somebody. As we said, collecting data. I like that. I like the play on words. But from the perspective of utilizing various forms of online platforms, whether you're talking about a dating app, social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, but it's primarily done online in a virtual sense. And probably we could even say right now Zoom. So, we could have a Zoom date, So it's an opportunity for people to not mingle face to face, but from the virtual World Wide Web, etc.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So Kefian said something that is very profound. She says, as Christians, we should date, we should get to know somebody with the intention that we want to establish a serious relationship. perhaps a marriage relationship. How do you all feel about that? Is it okay for me as a Christian man to just go and meet girls to get to know a girl, but I'm not desirous of marriage, or I'm not intentional? Or should I only seek to date someone that I am intentional about the possibility of getting married to? How do the men feel about it?
Are you asking just anyone?
No, I'm asking the panel, the members of the panel. I'm going to give a chance for the audience to ask questions, but I'm going to ask you to raise your hand, okay? Use a raise hand feature. Anybody on the panel want to answer the question?
Say the question again.
I'm saying, should we only date someone that we are intentional about, that we see as a potential marriage partner? Or should we just say, I need to get to know girls and meet girls,
I see that as two different forms of dating. If you want to date for fun, that's fine. But if you want a long-term relationship, you shouldn't be out there willy-nilly dating this one and this one and this one and that one. No.
So what is dating for fun? Just to get to know somebody?
Yeah, ask somebody out, coffee date,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ladies, is it okay? Is it okay for a man to date just for fun? Or do you want it to be?
I think it's at the different stages of your life in terms of, so for instance, if you were talking about teenagers, and we welcome their hormones and their, the ability for them to get to know the persons of the opposite sex, they are still figuring out themselves. Your brain cells don't stop in terms of continually developing until 25. So they're still figuring out who they are. So at that point in time, when we say date for fun, we need to specify these things, right? In terms of hanging out, learning other people, figuring out what you like. And that's one of the reasons why we say group dating is a good forum for that. But in terms as you are a little bit more aware, self-aware, dating, and as I'm saying specifically for Christian people, because not everybody holds to this, right? That it should be a little bit more intentional. Intentional does not mean that when I meet you, right? So if I meet Mr. Fleming here, that the first thing I'm going to marry Mr. Fleming. Not from that perspective, right? I see something about Mr. Fleming. So I might like Mr. Fleming's beard and how he speaks and articulates himself and so forth. So I might think that there are things about him that are attracted to me internally as well as externally. And I go about creating an environment whereby we can interact and get to know each other. Because even in interacting and getting to know each other does not necessarily mean that anything will move forward romantically. So it's like, you want a lime, you want to hang, well, in Trinidad, we say lime. That's not a fruit. I'm just specifying, right? So in Trinidad, we say we want a lime, want to hang out, you want to get to know each other. So that's how I see it. Yeah, it depends on which age group you are at, but you still should never get over the process. You should start dating. I shouldn't just want to marry Mr. Fleming or Mr. Edwards because I just saw them.
So I agree with everything that everybody just said. Personally, I wouldn't really tell people how they should date, but for me, I'm not going to date anyone unless I'm interested or I see them as a potential life partner. So yes, my dating is usually intentional. I might want to get to know you to see if we're compatible and if we could actually be life partners. Now, when I was younger, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I used to date without, thinking about marriage. I didn't necessarily see, whoever I was dating as a potential married a partner for life. But if I could turn back time, I probably would have done it differently and only date people that I was interested in marrying.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. Now, there are many dating sites out there, and I believe the numbers may have increased since COVID-19. I know there are Christian sites that are exclusive for Christians, and sites that are for everybody. All right. Now, question: is it okay for Christians to join a dating site? Open question to the panelists.
I can go. I think it's fine. I think dating sites are an option that's available for everybody who wants to date, whether they're Christians or non-Christians. It's really just a matter of preference and choice. Some people have used dating site and they're very successful. I actually have friends who, met online and they're married and happily married, but it's really a matter of preference. You just have to be a little bit extra careful with online because a lot of people are deceptive online. There's a lot of deception going on.
Okay. Anybody else? Is it okay for Christians to use dating sites, to join dating sites?
Can I speak?
I want to take the panelists. I want to take the panelists first, okay? I want to give the audience a chance to raise their hands, okay? Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Is it okay? Anybody else? Yes.
If you're a
I think
Christian,
it's okay, yeah.
It's okay. Okay.
yeah.
All right. What are some of the I guess advantages and disadvantages of online dating? Some of the pros and cons.
You can't meet them. You don't know, you can actually meet them.
It's harder to physically meet. Well, you can meet them if they're close by, but some of these people might not get a chance to meet them because they are physically far away. All right, so that might be a disadvantage. Okay, let's look at some disadvantages first then. Yes.
I wanted to add that online dating it has its pros and cons because the availability of persons to date is huge. That's like a pro. One of the cons is that you can actually end up dating somebody that you wouldn't necessarily want to date or would have dated had you been able to see the person. Maybe you would pick up more on certain things. So you might attract the wrong type of person when you date online. But as I said, there are many different aspects to it. Can be good or bad.
Yes. I know that we can go with the normal things in terms of people could get catfished in terms of wrong person, pretending to be different things and so forth. But I want to focus primarily on something that some people don't think about, of one of the cons. Online dating sometimes tends to create a false sense of closeness. I feel that because I have shared so much with you. I've told you that I eat carrots this morning. I had a burger in the evening, or I like this and I like that. That it really, truly talks to the fact that we have created some level of bond. And the sharing of information. When you even look with communication, they tell you that we communicate 20% verbally and 80% of it is done non-verbally. And sometimes in interacting online, that taking away from learning somebody's gesticulations, their moods and so forth, it can come across, yes, but not in a way that is done face-to-face. And it does create a false sense of closeness. Not saying that some people have not triumphed over this. And I think that that is where we have to measure compatibility from different perspectives than we would normally do in face-to-face. But basically that false sense of closeness and catfishing, and when you do things online, we see that a lot of people, when they do things online and they do break up or they go separate ways, it could kind of get messy because people could be very spiteful and sharing conversations, etc. That's my cons, my 3 cons, and I guess somebody could add on to that.
I'm just gonna add the advantage that I see with online dating is that it gives you a lot more options.
Mm.
You know, take for example, I'll go to church. There are no men in the church. I don't know, even if there was 1 or 2, I wouldn't know if they're really looking for somebody. But online dating, I think people are looking for the same things. They're looking to meet a partner. So I like that option because you have like what do you call it? Lots of options, lots of men to pick, choose, and or refuse. The disadvantage that I find with online dating is that you know, there's a lot of deception going on, and you don't really get to really see that person up close and personal. So a lot of time you might think you have a good emotional connection with somebody, but when you meet them in person, you're not compatible. Maybe they're too short or too tall or too fat or too thin. So, you know, that's one of the con and that's one of the pro.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. I want to say that there's a distinction. Would you agree with me that there's a distinction between, let's say, meeting someone in love above everything ministry and meeting someone on a dating site? Would you say there is a distinction between these two, I guess, virtual ways of meeting someone?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the first is that, first of all, everybody here, I believe we're Christians. Most of us love the Lord. We're intentional about really building our characters for God's kingdom. We're participating in prayer and fasting, and we're really improving our spiritual walk with the Lord. So that is something that you can see and feel. So there's a sense of safety, or at least I would feel safer, you know, dating somebody that I'd meet here versus someone online. So that's a big distinction right there. Whereas when you go out on the online website, you're a little bit, your guards are up because you don't really know what you're going to get. You can't really vouch for those people. Whereas generally here, you know, someone brings you here, so you can, they can vouch for you. And I would think that's the case for most of the folks here. Somebody they know brought them here, so they can vouch for them.
Okay, I agree. It's easier for us to vet people. We here for people to be vetted here, as opposed to on a dating site, even on a Christian dating site, I would say.
But do you vet people here?
I do vet people, and especially if you ever call me and say I'm interested in XYZ, I'm gonna investigate. If you say you like Elder Auckland, I can give you a pretty good, you know, feel of him after being in the ministry, you know, over here with him. You know, yes, definitely. All right, so I want to ask a little about long distance relationships. How do you all feel about long distance relationships in terms of being with somebody from a different country? Because a lot of that is going to happen and happens in a ministry like this. Question to the panelists. Anybody want to answer? Do you feel about being with somebody in a different country than yours? Well, Elder Auckland, how do you feel about yes?
That would depend if both of them are mature enough to handle a relationship like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you the elder feel?
My track record has not been good. So yeah, I will have to do some deep reflection and deep insight to actually do that again.
But you live in St. Croix, which is a place, just a few people. I take it that most of the people you're going to meet are going to be outside.
True.
Right.
Yes,
So,
but I had a bad experience with that. So yeah. Yeah.
okay. How did the ladies feel about meeting somebody outside your country?
So I think long distance dating, especially if they're in a foreign country, is very, very challenging. For me to consider it, I would have to really seek God and his wisdom, and maybe a lot of prayer and fasting. When I left Jamaica at 17, I had a boyfriend, and after 1 year, I broke up with him because it was too much for me to deal with him being so far away.
Okay.
So it's hard, but I think if you meet the right person, like I said, because I mean, usually a lot of us are single because we haven't really met who we want to marry, or we don't have that emotional connection with that person as we would like. So let's just say that I met someone and they live in, it's kind of hard, foreign country or even California. I would probably think about it. I probably would be open to it, but it's, like I said, it comes with a different set of challenges.
Okay. Thank you. I see your hand, Pastor. I soon get to you. Okay. All right. I'm going to give the audience an opportunity to participate. So I'm going to post a survey in the chat that I want you to fill out and click send. So let me just post a little survey in the chat. Okay, now let me ask you, the panelists, would you say it is much easier now to do a long distance relationship than in the past?
Most definitely.
Definitely.
Most definitely.
Okay, why would you say so?
Well, firstly, because of the exposure in terms of an advancements in technology. Technology back in the day was a telephone call or email. Now we can, I could video call you, we could walk, we could chat, I can see what is going on. It gives you a ability to feel present. Also, because I think of the after industrialization, there was a lot more things in terms of job opportunities. So people's incomes vary now, so that I could, if I can afford it, I can pick up and I can take a flight here or take a train ride here and so forth. So that's economic variability or fluctuation depending on the person's station or status in life. They can do that. Before, you probably would have had to take a ship, or the flights were so expensive. And we even see now in COVID times, it's even easier in terms of, because people were so grounded with flying. There are so many different deals now that you could fly a little bit here and there. So there's some sort of more flexibility being allowed for persons. But I think that Sister Jackie made a very important point, where that those things have a lot to do with preference, people's boundaries, and their expectations of what they want to exist in our relationship.
Okay. Yes, I remember back in the days, you would have to call someone if you had someone outside of your country, for example. And it was expensive, but now you can call for free with WhatsApp, praise God, and things like Zoom, you can, and video calls, you can do
Magic Jack.
Well, not for free,
Jack.
but not free, but with the internet, just having internet, especially if you have Wi-Fi at home, so it's much more cheaper and convenient to get to know somebody and see somebody and to connect with somebody virtually than back in the days. you know, I would say. All right.
It does make it easier to talk to them, but you're still not seeing that person. And that is what the challenge is for me. If I'm dating someone, I want to see them. I want to spend time with them once a week, twice a week. I want to go to church with them. And when somebody's long distance, you can't do that.
Okay.
And I think, Jackie, that has a lot to do with what is your love language. Definitely, you're telling me there that your love language is quality time. There are some people who love language is not that. So they could say words of affirmation is my thing. I may just, you know, enjoy that conversation and those compliments and that kind of thing. So it depends on you really, as you say, what you need. And nothing is wrong with needing that. That's great. Once you know that, then you can prevent yourself from having what I would say unnecessary burdens or heartbreaks, because you're aware of that within yourself. And you know, it's not that you're not willing to take a leap and try something once God has directed you. As you said, you prayed, you fasted, if something like that comes your way. But knowledge then helps us to be able to navigate our dating expectations.
Yeah, I guess it depends on your threshold. You know, what can you tolerate? What do you find acceptable? What can you how long can you be without seeing that person? So, I mean, for me, it just wouldn't work very well. I'd be miserable.
Thank you so much. I want to encourage everyone to do the survey. Let me just drop the survey in the chat, and I'm going to ask Pastor Eric, who has his hand up for a while. Pastor Eric, go ahead, Pastor. Pastor Eric? I'm not hearing the pastor. Pastor Eric? His patient ran out.
I don't think it's on a pastor.
He's gone? He's probably got disconnected. Okay, yeah. All right. I know Sister Nadine had a question. Sister Nadine, go ahead. You had a question or comment?
I forget all about it, so I'm very sorry.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I see Sister Carol as a random. Go ahead, Sister Carol.
Thank you, Pastor, for acknowledging my hand. I don't know if you all covered this yet. I'm sorry that I joined late. I don't know if you all covered this yet. Have you all talked about the need to vet the persons that you're meeting online just to be sure that they have properly presented themselves?
Yes. Well, they talked about vetting in this ministry, but when you meet somebody, you know, on a website, for example, it might be more difficult to vet them, you know.
I think that's important to talk about, because there are a lot of people online that will misrepresent themselves, and women and men alike can be deceived. And it is possible. That's one of the things that I've done as a coach. I've coached women so that they can understand what to look for, and they will know how to vet them. There are simple things that you can do to make sure someone is legitimate, because some people do have fake profiles. Some people do exaggerate their qualities and their characteristics. So I don't know if you all had that discussion for online vetting. Did you all have that?
Yeah, we have not gone into detail in terms of vetting. Personally, I would encourage people to join a Christian ministry like this one and meet somebody in a Christian ministry than go to a dating site, you know, because there is great opportunity to vet people in this Christian ministry as opposed to on a website. All right. Let me ask the question. What are some questions that you believe that we should seek to ask in order to where can we vet somebody? Okay, where can we vet somebody that we meet virtually? You know, somebody that nobody knows that we know. How well can we actually vet someone?
Are you asking me, Pastor, or are you asking the panelists?
I'm asking the panelists, but you can answer also.
Okay, Pastor. That's a real good question. And as I coach people, I invite them to start with their local church and engaging the pastor, the first elder, just finding out, for example, the ministries that they're connected with. There's a Sabbath school teacher, there's a Sabbath school superintendent, right? If there is a family, a family life department, and they're working with family life, I would want to speak with the head of that department. That's a good start. Actually visiting the church, talking with them is an excellent place to start vetting.
Okay. I like what you said about talking to their pastor. Now, with the church might be difficult because they might be in a different country completely, you know, in this virtual world. But I like that. Find out if they go to a church and speaking to some of the people in the church. That's good. Thank you so much. I see Pastor Eric is back on, so he had a question, so I want to take him. Pastor Eric, go ahead.
Okay. My question was that why is it hard to cope up with the distance relationship? That is one of my struggles in my life.
Why is it hard to do what?
Why is it hard to cope up with distance relationship?
To break up, you said?
To cope up. Why is it hard to cope up with distance relationship?
I don't know if anybody got. Spell that word for me. Spell that word that you
okay,
say.
He said, why is it hard to cope?
Cope
with long distance relationship.
Okay. Thank you, sister. Thank you. Okay, the pastor is asking, why is it difficult to cope with long distance relation? Now, I would say the answer varies because some people cope very well with long distance relationships.
Yeah.
All right. Some people, they love long distance relationship more than in-person relationship. All right. I believe one of the advantages of a long distance relationship is that it might prevent you from getting physically involved in some ways. All right. It might be less expensive. You don't have to care about the person every minute. You know, so there are some advantages. All right. And there are some easier ways to do it now because of the advancement in technology. But I don't know if anybody can tell me that you about the challenges that you have had in long distance relationships, and why do you think it was difficult to cope? Anybody? Any member of the panel? Any member of the panel? Can tell us?
Panel.
Yes.
Somebody said something?
No, go ahead. Go ahead, sister.
Oh, well, I think we were seeing that from the comment that I was having with Sister Jackie at that point in time. It has a lot to do with your needs, your love language, and so forth. So that could present itself some level of difficulty. Our ideologies of what a relationship should be, because you hear a lot of people saying that, you know, when I was in a relationship, we used to do this and we used to do that and the other and so forth. And then life happens sometimes when we get married and things like that. Not saying that you should stem away from what one would have done in their dating experience. But sometimes we set an unrealistic bar in terms of every Saturday night we are out, every Saturday, every Sunday we're spending X and this and that and the other. So it depends on really and truly what expectations you set, what are your needs and what are your preferences. I think it's also difficult for some people because a lot of us weren't taught growing up. Now, this generation growing up is taught a lot about self-development. and knowing themselves and being mindful and practicing mindful thinking, etc. But back in our days, right, if you're in your 30s, your 40s, and so forth, self-development was not something passed on directly. Yes, sort out your academics or your vocational arts, sort out your career, etc. So a lot of people sometimes don't know themselves. So they probably may need a company all the time. You know, my grandmother used to say, if you don't know how to spend time by yourself, then you should work on that. But that is an opinion. I didn't say that was fact, right? So it depends. It has so many varying circumstances. If you live by yourself, if you migrated and you didn't get the opportunity to make friends, because some people are introverts, so it may be a little bit difficult for them to socialize. So it is very circumstantial, and it's very hard to map out this exact thing. You could only make generalized statements in that regard. In regards, Pastor, to what the young lady, I didn't catch her name, was saying before, when she was talking about the vetting, in regards to the fact that you indicated that, you know, with online and stuff, some of the different things that we ask people to look out for here, because as you say, so many people want to be introduced to online dating, is to, you know, to pay attention to, you know, all the Photoshop pictures. Sometimes these things are not what people, and I'm just giving basic tips, right? Things that sometimes people may not think about. Excuses for missing online opportunities to talk, or tendency to focus on rude talk and, you know, these kinds of things. Never being introduced to people that they talk to or hang out with over time. Virtual possessiveness in terms of like, where were you? Why weren't you online at this time? Etc. etc. Virtual lies. Not actually wanting to meet at any point in time. And people who have absolutely no pictures up, just quotes or memes or scenery, and always switching up conversations when they want to talk about something serious. Because after we've talked about the trivial things, there will be an opportunity for us to dive into real topics. And if that person keeps avoiding that, those are some of the basic things that you could use when vetting somebody online in terms of talking and going through the process of dating with them. That's my 2 cents.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Sister Faith.
Yes, I was going to say that one of the ways that I vet people, and this, I was talking to someone in the church.
Mm-hmm.
I do a criminal check, and criminal checks are free. I know in the States, you can just go to the Department of Corrections and put in the person's name and run the criminal check. And this particular person did have a record. So that's a great way to vet someone.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my sister. Okay, so I am going to take a look at this. I gave a survey. If you have not done the survey, let me just post it again one last time. I'm going to look at the results of the survey. All right, so we can see what you all said. So if you didn't do the survey, I just posted it. I'm going to just share my screen and share this results of this survey with you. All right. Okay, so let me see. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen? We have 42 people that have responded. All right, it's reading, it's coming up. Okay. All right, so you can see my screen. So the first question was, is it okay for Christians to join online dating sites? Is it okay for Christians to join online dating sites? 41 people responded and 71% say yes. Okay. 21% say maybe. All right, so about 8% or 7% of people say no. All right, but almost 3/4, almost 75% says yes. There are a few conservative individuals who said don't join. It is not okay for Christians to join a dating site. Okay. Mind you, bear in mind, there are Christian dating sites. There are dating sites out there that are only for Christian. There are 70 Adventist dating sites actually out there. All right. Number 2, would you join an online dating site? This is a personal question. Would you join? And 61% say yes, I would. 18% say maybe, and 22% say no. So 1 out of every 5 people here, but 45 people responded, said I would not, right? And the rest are saying yes or maybe they would join one. All right. Mind you, some dating sites are free, and most of the dating sites are not free. You have to pay to join them. It's a business actually, money business, big money business. Number 3, do you believe the conference? Do you believe the conference should create online dating sites for the members? It's an interesting response. So 75.5%, 73/4 of the people say yes, the conference should create online dating sites. Well, that would be a good place where you could probably vet people, you know, a good way that people could be vetted. And it's an interesting question because, you know, the church is saying, don't date anybody elsewhere, you know. So if you had an opportunity to be able to see the singles in the church that you could choose from, that would, you know, help the process, you know. 13% say maybe, and 10% say no. All right, 10% say no. So almost 90% is saying yes or maybe. Okay. Number 4, are you okay with a long-distance relationship outside your country? Are you okay with a long-distance relationship outside your country? So 40% say yes, 40% is okay, and 44% say maybe, 44% say maybe, but 17% said no. So most people are, well, 40% okay, the next 40% say maybe, and 17% say no. So most people are either agree or maybe. All right. And you know, sometimes we say no, and when we meet the person that we're really interested in, we say yes. We change our mind, you know. Yes, true. All right, number 5. Right. Is it okay to date more than one person online at the same time? Important question. Is it okay to date more than one person online at the same time? So 54% say no, it's not okay. But 29% say yes, it's okay. And 16% say maybe. So it's interesting. Almost half of the people say no, and the other half say yes or maybe. All right, almost half. All right. Number 6. Would you date someone exclusively before meeting that person? Would you date someone exclusively before meeting that person? Would you date someone exclusively before meeting that person? So 37% say yes, 39% say no, and 24% say maybe. All right. Okay. Number 7. Would you date someone exclusive for months if you had little or no opportunity to meet that person? 71% said no. All right. I would say no myself. 18% say maybe, and 10% say yes. All right. Number 8. As the COVID pandemic made it more difficult for you to meet someone, it has made it easier for some of us. Right, Brother Alcon? it has made it easier for us to meet someone, not in person, but definitely we get a wider option, than we had before, some of us. So 65% say yes, it has made it more difficult, and 26% say no, and the rest say maybe. So let me ask the panelists this question. Is it okay to date more than one person online at the same time? Because when you join a dating site, that's one of the things about a dating site. You're gonna get see a lot of people, and so there it creates probably a temptation to be flirtatious and to just meet people and not be intentional. And bear in mind, the person that you meet is meeting other people too. But is it okay? Is it okay to date more than one person at the same time, panelist? Anybody wants to respond? You met online.
I can respond to that. So I don't do online dating. It's not for me.
Yes,
Maybe for other people, but not for me. But if I did, no, I can only care and really put my emotions into one person at a time. So for me, I would say no, it's not okay. And if I were dating someone, I wouldn't want them to be dating other people, whether it's online or otherwise.
Okay. So it's a risk that you run when you date online, that the person that you are solely interested in is also interested in other people. All right. Any other member wanted to answer that question?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with people's perspectives on what is dating. I think that people have different views of that. Dating is very different from courtship. But if dating is considered from the initial perspective or definition that was given that I said about generalization before you specialize, then it would be okay to talk to different people. Exclusivity is very different from dating, in terms of definitions, but most people have their different preferences and so forth. But it's very hard in the online dating forum. If you are on a dating app, if you have to, and just say something that we are accustomed hearing, swipe right or swipe left, you match up with different people, and people try to talk to others to engage them to see if there is interest, if there's compatibility. And in talking to you from the friendship perspective, or, and that even, I wouldn't even say friendship, associates, because we don't know each other, we can then formulate a good friendship. And then from a friendship, one could possibly then move forward to probably meeting up, hanging out, and deciding if I would like to be exclusive. Exclusive, not saying yet you are in a relationship, no. I'm focused on you. I want to see where you and I could go. And then from experiencing that, you could then say, hey, let's try this thing. So I think it depends on your view of dating.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. Okay. All right. I think we're running out of time. The time change here, and we are coming close to our close. I just want to summarize some of the points that have been made. All right. We said dating was a means of intentionally getting to know someone. All right. Intentionally getting to know someone. We said some of the pros. One of the pros of online dating is that it gives us a great opportunity to meet someone. So we have an opportunity to meet more people, to get to meet more people, especially for our ladies. All right. But at the same time, one of the cons is that it increases the risk that you might be deceived. All right. And as a result, emphasize the importance of doing due diligence, of ensuring that you're able to properly vet someone that you meet virtually, whether you meet them in this ministry. Because if you meet them in this ministry, don't think because you meet them here, they're fine. You got to do a lot of vetting, because the devil comes to church too. All right. All right. There are many wolves in sheep clothing. Both, not just men, but women. All right. So that's important for you to know. The panelists all believe it's okay for Christians to, that it's not wrong for you to join a dating site. I don't know if I got that right, but not everyone will join a dating site. All right. I like I said, I would encourage people to I would encourage more meeting in a Christian ministry as opposed to on a dating site. There's a greater security, I would say, in a Christian ministry like this than on a dating site. I want to give each member of the panelist, each member of the panel, sorry, an opportunity to say give a final word, probably 30 seconds, each member of the panel.
I wanted to say something earlier, but I was trying to change over and was having some issues with my device. I personally believe that it is okay to date online, but it just depends on where you are, what the platform you are using, and who is actually running the site that you are going on, because anybody can run a dating site, but for you, if you want to, as a Christian, find a Christian partner, then you must find a Christian running a Christian dating site for that. And that is one of the things I appreciate with being here.
Okay, but I'm not running a dating site though.
No, I mean, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Someone else?
I think for anybody who want to do online dating, go for it. Everybody have their different styles, and they should be free to do whatever they're comfortable with. Personally, for me, knowing myself and what my threshold and tolerance level is, online dating wouldn't work well for me. I recently was talking to a guy who's in Israel. He's a military person who was on a ship in the Navy. And I stopped talking to him after a month because it was very hard to make those connections even by phone because of different time zone, different country, etc. But I would just say if you're going to do online safe dating, make sure that you do your due diligence. I think the background check, a comprehensive background check, is important. That would include the criminal check as well as the credit check and other checks. And there are lots of software online that you can use to get a quick report on someone. You can also talk to people at their local churches. That works too. That's really my take on online dating. For those who want to do it, they should do it. There's nothing wrong with it. Just be careful because there's a lot of deception out there. And do your background checks. But personally, it's not for me.
Thank you so much. So 30 seconds. Any other member of the panelists?
Yes. To those who want to do online dating, do it cautiously, do it methodically. A little hesitancy is good for the soul. Make sure and also do it prayerfully. Be aware that it can fail. It's not fail-proof. Accept that trust will be multiplied exponentially to make such relationships work. Try to mix it with a little face-to-face and proceed slowly. Find a good dating site for you. Take advantage of things like online personality tests and intelligent matchmaking. Make sure that you create a good online profile. First impressions count a lot. Make a great introduction with your first message if you decide to swipe right or swipe left. And remember, take your time. Dating is a process.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, anybody else? Anybody else wants to say a final word?
Can't follow that. That was just the cherry on top.
Okay. All right. I want to thank our panelists. I want to thank you so much for your time, for your contribution, for your words of wisdom, your insights.